Welcome to Casey Cares, the voice of Kansas City nonprofits. We share the stories of local nonprofits and the individuals who drive them. At Casey Cares, we connect the nonprofit and business sectors to enhance the quality of life in Kansas City for its residents and visitors. This Casey Cares segment was brought to you by the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation, www.kaufman.org. I'm Ruth Baum Biggis. Those in the military, active duty, reserve, and veterans have given so much for all of us in the greater Kansas City area. Supporting the service and family members through their journey is the work of Friends in Service of Heroes. Well, joining us today to talk about the work of this great nonprofit is its founder, Paul Chappa. Paul, welcome to Casey Cares.
Thank you, Ruth. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, I know in getting ready for our conversation today, I thought it was so interesting that you're not somebody who has served in the military, yet you're serving those who have served. Tell us a little bit about this journey and how you got to where you are today.
Thanks, Ruth. Well, you're right. And it kind of stuns everyone. But I just feel that individuals need to understand that freedom is not free. And that was something that became very relevant to me when I saw my brother serving, I saw my cousins serving, I saw all these people serving. I look back in my life and I had the opportunity, but decided I needed to chase my dreams and go to Oklahoma State, and that's what I did. But when 9/11 happened, Ruth, that changed everything. For not just myself but the globe. And I felt like I needed to do something. I couldn't just sit on the sidelines and watch. I had to do something. And what I do for a living, I'm in the grocery industry. I own a trade journal for the frozen and refrigerated industry, and so I decided to utilize that to find a way to incorporate my industry into serving those that wear the cloth of our nation. And so, it stuns everyone when they find out I'm not a veteran. And that's what makes Fish so unique. Because again, these vets will say, wait a minute. You mean you're doing all this and you didn't serve? Right. And I'll never forget, Ruth, it was the first Heroes Dinner. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But in 2012, we did a Heroes Dinner at the 2nd Marine Air Wing in North Carolina. And as we're at the general's home, the quarters, all these young Marines and their spouses are coming in. Here I am standing with the commanding general and his wife, and they're coming in and they kept thanking me. And I turned to the general and I said, would you please tell these Marines to stop saying thank you, because I'm here for them. And he leaned back in and he says, Paul, they know you're from Kansas. They know that you've traveled here to do this for them. So let them say thank you. Okay. You can't get your time back. And so, I did not serve, Ruth. And I just hope that our efforts at Fish, that people realize, they see this and they say, you know what, though I didn't wear the cloth of our nation, though I didn't raise my right hand to serve our country, I can do something. And maybe grab an oar, like I tell people, grab an oar, get in the boat, help us go find someone, help us go fishing to find that individual that never sees us coming, that will never ask for help. And let's find a way to serve them.
Well, I love that story. And you are wearing the cloth because you are helping and you are doing. All right. So you're in this industry and you have this desire to do that. All right. How did you meld that together? We in the nonprofit community and even those outside know it's not an easy lift to say, I have an idea. Okay, now I'm going to do something.
Well, that's a really good question. Honestly, no one's ever asked me that question, Ruth. And they just assume that, I must have some some nonprofit experience or something like that. I had absolutely nothing, nothing. But I just felt it was something that was placed on my heart. And it was so deep in my spirit that it was something that I was waking up every day with this yearning, this nudge saying, do something. do something. I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, but I knew it involved our military. I knew that there was something out there. And I actually went to my pastor and I said, this is keeping me awake. I don't know what to do. It's so loud now. And he's like, I said, I need to find someone that knows how to start a nonprofit and have them do this. And I'll just be a fly on the wall. And he looked at me and, oh, I need to back up. I also said, and I'm a stutterer, Dan. So it can't be me in front of people. I can't do that. I don't talk in front of people. And he looked at me and said, you know who else was a stutterer? I went, yeah, Mel Tillis. and because and I said, Dan, seriously, he said, Paul, look, if this is on your heart, you don't need to know what it looks like. You don't need to know what step 2 or 3 is or 4. Just take that first step. And that's exactly what I did. And it's been rather amazing to see how it's grown. And, in the beginning, it was just me and my wife and American Express doing everything, and quite honestly, it was at one of our heroes dinners, Ruth. I mean, because in 2011, when we did that first dinner, and that's a fun story. I have to tell you about that. We weren't a nonprofit. It was just me and, like I said, my wife and American Express that said, I'm going to call my buddy, Chef Rick Tarantino. He's a celebrity chef, and he's going to meet us there. He's going to prepare the meal. And it was after our 4th dinner. And it was at Cherry Point again. It was now in 2013. And the commanding general made a statement that changed everything. Changed everything. That night, he was rather distant and almost aloof at the table. And after all the young Marines and their spouses and the Navy corpsmen left the home, we went outside to decompress and to debrief and have a bourbon. And I asked him, General, what's going on? And he didn't answer me. I looked at his wife and I hit the table. Bluto, that was his call sign. Bluto, what's going on? And he looked at me and he said, Paul, obviously I got a lot on my mind. It's been a rough day. I lost some Marines this morning in Afghanistan. What? I lost some Marines, and Paul, the only consolation is at least their mommies and daddies and fellow Marines will know about them. What do you mean by that? He says, Paul, it's 2013. America's not at war. America's at the mall. No one cares. Ruth, that was the statement that pierced me even more. That was the night, and I had some industry friends with me, and we looked at each other and just we're completely shocked by his statement. And he said, I've got to get up early and talk to the NCOs and then reach out to the families. And I said, General, we'll get out of here so you can get some rest. And as I walked out of the patio back into the house, I looked back and his wife had her arm around him and he was patting her hand. And I just felt the emotion. I just felt it. It was so prevalent. It was so obvious and apparent to me. And as we get back into the rental car with my guys, I said, guys, it's great that we're the food industry and we can feed our heroes like this, but gosh, we got to do more. Surely there's more we can do. And one of the guys, Bob Savage from DeWaffle Bakers, I'll never forget, he said, that's right, we're the food industry. And I looked at him, and I looked at the other guys in the back seat. That's it. What? We're going fishing. What are you talking about? Food industry, serving heroes, feed a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him to fish, feed him for life. Come on, we got to get back to the hotel room. We got to work this out. And that's the night in January 31st of 2013 that the idea of Fish actually came to fruition. Now we've rebranded to Friends in Service of Heroes because it's no longer just the food industry that is supporting us. It's everyone. And and that's kind of how it all began. And that was the night that we realized we could and should do more.
What a pivotal moment for you.
It it's completely. I'm telling you, Ruth, it has actually changed my life. Um, never in my wildest dreams that I ever anticipate anything like this uh, occurring. It wasn't something. I am the guy that would prefer to be the fly, fly on the wall. I don't like putting myself out there. That's never been who I am. When I was a kid, like I said, as a stutterer, as long as I had my tennis racket in front of my face or my football helmet on, I was okay. But, please don't come up and ask me a question because it wouldn't come out. But I feel as though this isn't about me. It never has been. This is about them. And Fish's them, are those that have served our country and their families, our active duty military. So in some ways, I know that our vets will never ask for help. So if they're not going to ask for help, who will? We will.
Mm-hmm.
I will. Because this isn't about me, it's about them.
So 2013 was that pivotal seminal moment. When did you decide to do this as a nonprofit as opposed to just, moving along with what you had been doing?
Well, I'm not wealthy for one. And so, like I said, it was always just me and my American Express. And, I own my own business and all, which I still do. That's how I pay the bills. No one at Fish is paid. No one. There's no salary.
Wow.
And so I knew if we were going to go to the next level, there was no way I could continue doing my job and paying my staff and doing what I need to do to pay my bills and also make sure that we're trying to accomplish what we needed to accomplish for our military with Fish. And so I just said, okay, help me, guys. And one of my guys, a friend of mine who retired from Nash Finch, a wholesaler in the grocery industry, said,
mm-hmm.
We need to start a nonprofit. I went, okay, how do we do that? And because I didn't know, Ruth. I have no background. I'm not qualified, but, if not me, who? And so it's been really interesting. I didn't realize how emotionally involved this could be, and it's been so rewarding, but it's been very difficult, Ruth. I'll tell you that. Because you're dealing with people that, again, you can't unsee, unhear, unsmell any of those experiences, and they'll always be there. And we try and do life with them. In other words, we walk with them. We don't just want to do something for them and then send them on their way. That's not us. Go somewhere else, I tell them. But we want to do life with them. We want to watch them grow within Fish. We want them back on mission. After we help them, it's like, okay, let's go find someone now. Let's go find someone to serve. And that's what our troops, they love that, because that's how they're wired. They're wired to serve.
Right. We're talking with Paul Chappa, pardon me, Friends in Service of Heroes. Let's dig into what Fish is doing, what you provide. You've got 3 pillars. Let's talk about that. Share those with us, if you will.
Right. Our health pillar, our recognition pillar, our support pillar. What we try and do is break it out so, we can have some of our volunteers kind of focus on those pillars, for one. The health pillar has been one of the pillars that, we realized early on. At first, it was just feeding our troops, right? And we want to feed them not just food, but I call it the ESP, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. That's what we were doing, doing life with them, spending time with them, getting to know them, loving on them and their families with food. And but we quickly realized that although food is great, the need was so much greater. Their other needs were so much greater. When you deal with veterans that are dealing with PTS, they're not leaving the house. They're struggling to be out there. They want to be out there, but the anxiety level sometimes is so hard. And as well as everyone else that's listening that, so many of our vets with PTS are dealing with so many medications. I mean, it's not uncommon to find out that vets are taking, 8, 16 meds a day.
Mm.
A lot of them are anxiety meds, sleep meds. And so through the grapevine, I'd heard from one of my military friends that one of his Marines had received a service dog years ago. And how in the darkest hours of that guy's life, I mean, they were watching the clock, waiting on the phone call, that they had lost another teammate, right? Another buddy. But out of the blues, this guy got a service dog, and changed everything. And so I realized that maybe that's something that we need to take a look at, not knowing that it would be weeks later that I would receive a phone call from a friend of mine that I had known for years. One of her employees had a Marine son that
Mm.
was really struggling, had lost friends in Iraq. He'd gone back into Iraq after being out, to basically step in their shoes and replace them. Came back like so many, with all these horrible things, that you can't see, et cetera. And she told my friend that she'd found a letter written by her son. And so my friend didn't know what to do. She called me. I didn't know what to do, really, but I'm listening. And then I realized that conversation I'd had with that other Marine. And so this young man, who happens to be from Olathe, we ended up giving him the first service dog. And I can report to you that was that was like in 2013, I believe, maybe
Wow.
2014. He's married, he's doing phenomenal, life is good, and his dog is doing great still. And that was the first of what has now been 45 service dogs that we've given away. 46 will be on Monday, this coming Monday. And it's just been, I mean, they're angels with fur, Ruth.
Yes, they are. I have a
They're
dog.
angels with
I
fur.
understand.
And I mean, it's incredible. We had one young man that, I try and tell everybody that is receiving service dogs that a couple things. It's going to get you off the couch, out of the house, and re-engage. So you're going to go to the park. You're going to start meeting people. It's going to happen. You're liable to lose some weight. This young man lost about 50 pounds, and it's been 3 years now. Lost about 50 pounds. And last September, Ruth, his service dog was his ring bearer at his wedding.
Oh, I love it.
You can't make these things up. So the service dogs is one of the elements of our health pillar. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
of our health pillar. Mobility chairs, track chairs, quad chairs. I get some flack for this sometimes because oftentimes we will give an individual a quad chair, maybe a Hoyer lift, but they're fine. They're healthy. There's nothing wrong with them, but they're the caretaker of an adult daughter, for example. And here they are. They're a Vietnam veteran having to hoist their daughter out of bed to put her on the toilet, the shower, the lazy boy. If we're trying to improve the quality of life for our veterans, then we're going to improve the quality of life for our veterans. So we might give him, and we have several times, mobility chairs, Hoyer lifts, devices that help make his quality of life better by helping his daughter, right? We've given individuals that have children that need these quad chairs. The VA won't give them a quad chair. That kid's not a veteran. It won't happen. So they struggled, but if we hear about it, someone goes fishing and we can verify this and legitimize it, then we're liable to surprise that family with a quad chair for their child. That's who Fish is. And so that is the health pillar. A lot of medical equipment, durable medical equipment, service dogs, et cetera. The recognition side would be where if a unit's deploying, and we just had this happen not long ago in Springfield, a unit was deploying overseas, and their family readiness group was trying to get the soldiers to bring an entree, to bring a dessert, bring the bread, etc. you don't maybe a lot of people don't understand. If you're a sergeant with kids, you qualify for SNAP.
Yeah.
And so we heard about this. And it's like, guys, our board, went to our board. This is what we're doing. They all agreed. Boom. So we show up. We ended up having our friends at Hy-Vee in Springfield cater that meal.
Oh,
So we've done a lot of meals. We've across the country. We've forgive me the number I have to look around 50 dinners around the country, most of which are right here in the Kansas City area. Our National Guard units, our reserve units, et cetera. Just the other day, one of our board members was asking me, "What's this deal about coffee?" Well, about 3 years ago, again being in the grocery industry, one of my friends is a coffee manufacturer, producer, et cetera, and he sent me 2 pallets of coffee, and it took almost 3 years to disperse that coffee throughout the Kansas City area. But it's still a big thing. It's something you'll never forget. I mean, we had a
right.
room at a reserve unit that was filled with coffee. The aroma hit you the minute you walked in the doors. But so that is part of what our recognition is. Feeding our troops. Just doing whatever we can. Our challenge coins is something that our troops really appreciate. Now on the support pillar, Ruth, oftentimes, again, for whatever reason, we don't always know. Bad things happen to good people, right? And so it might be a situation where, someone's struggling. Maybe it's a health issue and they're struggling to keep up with their rent. They're
Hmm.
struggling, with this or with that. If we confirm that they are who they say they are, they have a DD 214, and that's a single page document usually that lets everyone know that they served honorably, then Fish will look at stepping in and helping them, during their financial crisis. And we've done a lot of that for many, many years. Rents, utilities, things like that. And we don't just give the veteran or this individual the money. We get with the landlord, we get with the utilities company, and we pay them directly. So it's done and done.
How do you do this with you're all volunteers? Do you have volunteers beyond your board is not huge. So how are you able to do this?
We're very nimble. I mean, no, honestly, I still don't know, Ruth, to be honest with you. But here, like for example, we have our golf tournament coming up. We've got 40 volunteers that are stepping up to support just that. Our Christmas party, which we do Christmas with our troops every November, we'll have 30, 40 volunteers that step up every single time. And again, a friend of mine, Gary Spinazzi, Nash Finch, once threw out this little anecdote. He said, "Paul, you know how you eat an elephant, don't you?" Gary, I don't know how you eat an elephant or why you would. One bite at a time. And so not everybody can do it all, but everyone can do something. And that's what we try and remind people. Look, I don't need you doing a whole lot, but you're a fisherman. Ruth, you're now a fisherman. Hearing the fish story, you now know that, look, if I run into someone, they're wearing a veteran's cap, I know a DD 214. Hey, sir, excuse me. I see you're wearing a cap. Do you have a DD 214? Ask me and tell me about that. What is that? If they can answer it that quick, then more than likely they really are a veteran, because not everyone that wears a cap, Ruth, makes them a veteran. Just because I know a lot of military stuff, I'm not a veteran. I never have claimed to be. I never will. I'm not. But knowing that fish is out there, this gives you an opportunity to go fishing, throw a line in the water. You never know, Ruth. It might be the person next door that, maybe in conversation, just in passing, they say something and you know that they'll never ask for help. Aha, I'm calling fish. And myself or one of our other multitude of our volunteers or our board members will reach out, do our due diligence. And once we discover that they are indeed who they say they are and the need is real, then yeah, we'll step in.
Where's the best place for folks to find out information? Is it your website? And
Our
if so,
website, our
go
website,
ahead and
friendsandserviceofheroes.org, or they can go on Facebook, fish-friends-and-service-of-heroes.org, or just Google fish. I mean, Google Friends and Service of Heroes. There's a lot out there, and it just astounds me as well, Ruth, because again, the whole secret sauce, if you will, has been the relationship that we have, with our Maker and what's been placed on our hearts. Because whether you believe in that or not, we don't get preachy because that's not what it's about. But it's about just doing the right thing. And these people have given so much for our nation, so much for freedom. If each and every one of us can find a way to not just say thank you for your service. So many of them don't want to hear that. It's like saying Gesundheit or bless you when someone sneezes. Why not? If they're a veteran, if they're wearing their uniform, got their name tape, Johnson, this is what I do all the time. And in my business, I do travel quite a bit. I wear a lot of fish bracelets and that say all gave some gave all, and it never fails. Someone will come up and say something like, thank you for your service. Whoa, I didn't serve, but how about you? Did you serve? Well, yeah. What was your MOS, your military occupation specialty? And when they light up, that they're a real vet. And they'll start talking, and then I'll usually say something like, well, listen, Mr. Jones, Mrs. Smith, I have a business, 4 amazing daughters, grandkids. I don't have to worry about life here in the great old United States because of the freedoms you're able to provide. I'm able to have these things because of the sacrifices that people like you and your brothers and sisters have made. So, for my family, thank you. That's a lot different than just saying, hey, thanks for your service, bye-bye. And that's something that makes them think and makes them, once again, appreciate that they did wear the uniform once upon a time.
There are a number of organizations in the Metro that do things for veterans. Do you work together? Or what really makes you different from what they may be doing?
Yeah, we do work a lot with the American Legions and the VFWs. Mm-hmm. A lot. We have a monthly speaker series every third Thursday that we hold at the American Legion in Overland Park, post 370. And the speaker series is what it's designed to do is for veterans and sometimes not veterans. Sometimes it's light. We've had comedians, we've had football players, Kansas City Chiefs players, Royals players share their stories. But the whole idea behind it is for these veterans to kind of unpack their rock, to finally, in a safe place with people that they feel they can trust, finally share their story. And for a lot of people, that's really the only way they can move forward, is to finally say, I can't carry this any longer. We've had World War II veterans, Korean War veterans, POWs, Vietnam veterans. So many amazing people share their stories. And so that's one of the organizations that we work with. We really don't work with too many others other than the American Legions, the VFWs, Daughters of the American Revolutions. We speak a lot at events like that, not just myself, but individuals that are involved with fish. But as far as working with other nonprofits, not really.
Well, you're doing amazing work. All the things that you offer through your 3 pillars. Thank you for what you do and stepping up, and you had something that you had passion about. And that's a great percentage of the nonprofit community. So it's Friends in Service of Heroes, friendsinserviceofheroes.org. Reach out, learn more, volunteer if you can, connect with a veteran. Paul, thank you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you, Ruth, and thank you everyone for listening. And reach out, grab an oar, jump in the boat, let's go fishing.
Thank you for joining us for KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice. We're produced by a nonprofit, Charitable Communications. This KC Cares segment was brought to you by the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation, www.kaufman.org. Well, if you'd like to be a guest on KC Cares, you can check out our website, which has all kinds of information at kccaresonline.org, and spread the love. You'll find us on Facebook and Twitter at KC Cares Radio and Instagram at KC Cares Online. And don't forget, catch us on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. on ESPN 1510 a.m. and 94.5 FM. Thank you for joining us on KC Cares.